Oh, okay. Well, in that case, sure. I mean, it's toxic parents everywhere. I mean, I'm not sure. I guess I don't really see like the significance of it. Like if it doesn't, it's not really a bar, nothing like that. I guess they said, oh, it's toxic parents. It's two types of toxic parents. Way more than two types of toxic parents. But as far as like, do I see that majority of the time? I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I know a lot of mothers, and they don't fit either one of them categories. If I'm gonna be honest, the women around me, the OGs that raised me, my aunties, and they wasn't necessarily like dominant or be your daughter's friend. That wasn't most of the case. I think they'll try to like keep them from making the mistakes that they made, but they wouldn't necessarily dominate them. They would like be a bit more harsh on them than the sons for damn sure. In terms of, which is why women tend to clash so much, but it's a situation where, women, if we're gonna be honest, mothers in general, they coddle their sons and they actually raise their daughters. That's how I like to look at it. That's how I feel like most mothers do. Now, all the toxic mothers who do what Kevin is talking about, sure, but I don't feel like that's the majority. So I don't know. Maybe I guess I got to get a little more context on it, but just from based on how it's explained to me, it just sounded a bit extreme, in my opinion.
Yeah, I didn't want to play it. Dr. David, mothers that dominate their daughters and mothers that are seeking peace with their daughters,
Yeah,
shielding their
when you
daughters.
mentioned this, I actually played it a little bit. I know exactly what he's talking about. He's talking about these single. Okay, when the saying is goes, the single women keep women single, and single mothers keep their daughters single. And this is what he's talking about: how some of these single moms are acting in ways that are keeping their daughters single. So in one part, um, a lot of these women and some of them that had kids early, they have they have aged out of their prime. And the same way, we've seen this going up. You see these ugly girls in the club, and then they always try to latch on to their really pretty friend so that they can get through the line, get into the VIP, get into places that they're not supposed to be, just because they're friends with the really pretty girl that everybody wants in the VIP or everybody wants for free. So they kind of latch on to the less attractive girl will latch onto their really attractive friend to get into the places. You see this, okay? You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. So the mom is the less attractive girl now. So she's trying to be friends with the daughter to get into places where the daughter goes and hang out with the daughter so that she can relive her youth, because that's one of her tickets into being a single mom, but because her daughter basically can get her into anything now, because her daughter is the new it girl and she's no longer. So that's one thing that you see them being friends with their daughters, because it's just like how women try to be friends with the pretty girl to get things, the same way that moms are doing that. And that's a toxic thing, and that's where they try to be friends with their daughters. The other thing that the single moms do, is they keep their daughters single, and they try to interject themselves in the relationships that their daughters have. And since they are not very good in picking men, because they had failed relationships themselves, they kind of push that bad decision making on their daughters, and they look at their daughter having a very stable relationship with a solid man as a threat to them, because that man will then take them away from her, and she will then be attached to that man and instead of to her. And therefore, if she allows her daughter to kind of become the wife of a man and have her own family and have her own thing, then she'll kind of just be this aftershock in the background and won't be a priority to her daughter anymore. So there's a lot of times where they'll try to advise their daughters and push the men that are interested in their daughter away, and that's the dominating type of single mom that's keeping her daughter single. So you run into a lot of women who, for some reason, their mom is people will say this and they know this experiences where their mom is very active in their relationship lives and personal lives, and it's not helping them in identifying a partner of value, a life partner of value, and people who, for no explanation, are still saying they're successful in other things, as Trilla mentioned. They're successful in professional life, but in the personal area, they're not doing very well. And one of the core reasons of that is the bad advice and the bad influence that their single mom, who has had horrible relationship history is pushing on them, either to be their friend and to be, the little plus one to their daughter, or to push away any potential male suitor from taking their daughter away from them and out of their clutches and out of their sphere of influence, and more so on the influence of a man. So a lot of people who have single moms or who have dated someone with a single mom can attest to the other thing too. And I think that's what he's going to. I don't think he's done the broadcast. I didn't see it, but
Yeah.
I think that's what he's going to talk about. Those two scenarios, which happens a lot. I'm telling you, especially in our community, that those two things are just rampant. And the funny thing is, ladies have an affinity for their mothers, and they will almost, because their mothers are their moms, and they have this really close relationship with them. So it's very hard for them to one, recognize this negative behavior that's coming from their single mom, and also to realize the limitation that their mom has in helping them with their personal life. Because if your mom does not have a successful personal life, she was not able to identify, and have a successful partner, then she can't advise you to do that. And your future doesn't have to be her past. So, but you have to make a clear break from her and seek counsel from people who've actually succeeded and have counsel for you. And it's not going to be from your mom. And it's a very hard thing to tell them. I told that to somebody, and she thought I committed heresy or something. I was like,
okay. Hey, Rilla, what are your thoughts?
I went first on it.
Oh, you did? My bad.
Yeah. No, you good.
Okay.
It's your birthday. We celebrating.
All right, the lead attorney. I was trying to make sure I had painted a whole lot of context for the lead attorney.
Yeah, listen, apart from being a 20-year divorce attorney, I'm also a 20-year guardian ad litem. And a guardian ad litem is an attorney who represents children who have been neglected by their parents. So I've been representing sons and daughters who've been neglected and abused by fathers and mothers for the last 2 decades. So I really don't think there's anybody in this stream who has seen more cases of abuse and neglect than me. And I agree with Kevin that there are mothers who, I've just seen so much, guys. There are absolutely mothers who dominate their daughters, and mothers who abuse their daughters, and mothers who neglect their daughters. I appreciate you clarifying that, Lapeef, and saying that. I think you said that these aren't the only 2 types of mothers. These are just 2 types of mothers, but there are other types of mothers, right? And so I would definitely agree with that. I've seen mothers who have, just walked away from their daughters because a new boyfriend showed up. And I have seen mothers come this close to putting their daughters in the grave.